We both hated tomatoes, but then we began to grow. The green vine wrapped around us tight, and we used to be the same height. Set the bunk bed, but when I woke, you were never ready to go. So different but looked the same, but then the sun came. The green globe soon turned to red. They say you're older than you seem. Did you want to be? We talked by a tree, my face buried within my knees. The silhouette of woman, our stem. I thought she hated me. You told me that her words shouldn't be taken so deeply. Something you learned after shaking the stem. Repeatedly. I wonder if you still feel this way. We both hated tomatoes, but now we've grown. We share the same genes. I clean the stains you leave all alone. I've always loved tomatoes, but I wanted us to agree. I chose the symbol, I chose tomatoes, not only because it's relevant to me and who I'm writing this poem about, but it's an allusion to Pablo Picasso's paintings in which tomatoes were a symbol of hope and kind of a persistence despite hardship. And I really think that's like relevant to my situation and to the story of the speaker within this poem, kind of wanting to persist and like have hope that they can reestablish this relationship with this person. Another allusion in my poem is Silhouetta, in which I'm alluding to Ana Mendietta's Silhouetta series, 1973 to 1980. Mendietta's silhouettes were an imprint of her female body into the earth, while not only symbolically representing kind of the temporality of pain, but also for me, it kind of represents the imprint of one's actions on the world around them and kind of how like they always will remember this effect that the person had. I chose the silhouette woman to refer to my mother. And this is seen again when the speaker says our stem. Within the personification of the tomatoes, I think the stem is kind of the central root that the tomato vines grow out from. And being that these are siblings, the tomatoes are me and my brother, the stem kind of represents like the speaker's mother and where we both came from. There is figurative language, the first one being the personification of tomatoes. The poem begins with, we both hated tomatoes, but then we began to grow. This could be interpreted both physically, but also I used the word grow instead of age to refer to a plant, a tomato plant. But this is also seen more like blankly in the line. But then the sun came, the green globe soon turned to red. In this imagery, it's showing the aging and it's showing the passing of time by relating it to the ripening of the tomato plant. It starts green, but it turns to red. Also, the sun is kind of representative of like hardships and kind of experiences that the speaker and their brother had, that which changed them from looking the same to kind of growing up and showing the differences of the two people. So the green globes soon turned to red, the tomatoes ripened. The metaphor, after shaking the stem repeatedly, refers to conflicts between the mother figure and my brother within the poem. And the metaphor, I clean the stains you leave all alone, on the genes. The genes is a double entendre, not only for like biology and the genes we share being related, but also physical clothing that me and my brother share. There's a metaphor after this. We share the same genes. I clean the stains you leave all alone. While also, physically meaning to clean like the stains he leaves on my jeans, the speaker is now forced to deal with their struggles by themselves and kind of clean up the effects of the other person that they've left on them. There's a refrain in my poem. We both hated tomatoes. It repeats itself again. We both hated tomatoes, but the last stanza of the poem breaks the refrain, in which I've always loved tomatoes. So right here, the break in the refrain is kind of showing the speaker's like desire for unity, and it's led them to lie not only to the reader but to themselves the whole time throughout the poem, claiming that they hated tomatoes. And I think the last line is the most impactful, but I wanted us to agree. It's kind of going against yourself in order to relate to the person that you feel like you're losing your relationship with. I wrote the poem using past tense words and kind of transitioning into the present tense to kind of represent the passing of time once again. So we have the words like, we hated tomatoes, and the green vine wrapped around us tight. We used to be the same height. You were never ready to go. Later on, it's, but now we've grown. And there's obviously how this line is taking place in the present. The message of this poem is to the audience, and it's kind of a refrain of expression. It's like the audience is obviously someone the speaker grew up with. I utilized cacophony and consonants in the third stanza. But so different, but looked the same. But then the sun came. The green globe soon turned to red. This repeated of the t and d sound is kind of, when you speak it, it's short and it's staccato. And it's kind of reflected of the short and staccato conversation and dialogue between the speaker and the person they're talking about. And this stifled interaction as the two siblings grow older. And it's very, and it's reflected in the way this poem is read, or the way the stanza is being read. An example of assonance is the repeated o sound. It's gentle. It's used when discussing the past and reflecting on the speaker's childhood. It's an innocent sound. Hated tomatoes, we began to grow, is used first, and then you were never ready to go. This is then broken by another case of assonance with the e sound. This e sound is a strained vowel and a strained pronunciation. It creates tension, but when it creates tension by itself when spoken as a singular line, but when read with the rest of the stanza and it begins to rhyme, that rhymes. It's harmonious, and it's like the speaker is reflecting, of course, and it's a recollection. But in this moment or throughout the whole poem where they're kind of wishing for a connection, the stanzas with the stressed E vowel is where the speaker and their brother have connected. So this is seen in stanza 4. They say you're older than you seem. Did you want to be? We talked by a tree. My face buried within my knee. I thought, stanza 5. The silhouette of woman or stem. I thought she hated me. You told me that her words should be taken so deeply. Something you learned after shaking the stem repeatedly. The last thing I want to talk about is the structure of the poem. The stanza's lines grow from the beginning being 2 to 3, and then 3 to 4. The middle section, when the speaker is talking about their mother, is 5. It then streaks down back to 1. The stanzas grow in the number of lines. It's kind of representative of the speaker growing up with this person. Not kind of, but it is representative of the speaker growing up with this person. And the 5th stanza being 5 lines kind of is showing like the present time for the speaker. And it's even because it's an awareness. And I think the line shrinks to 1 because it's an enjambment, and it's a question to the audience, to the person they're speaking to. I wonder if you still feel this way. And it's a break of the ever-growing tension within the poem to shrink back down and then go back to the refrain, we both hated tomatoes. So that was a breakdown of my poem, Tomatoes. It's a reflective piece. It's personal to me. It's obviously confessional poetry. So, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm drinking some burdock tea and see how I'm constantly rhyming. So get me on the track and I start rapping. Okay, bye.